Crooners is your go-to classic supper club, offering world-class entertainment and 4-star dining. Catch top artists in the main stage showroom, Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the Belvedere under the stars. Or stop by Maggie's Lounge where there's no cover and no reservations. Visit croonersmn.com for details.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPTA 20, Chicago's progressive talk where facts matter. Welcome to the Gaily Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I'm your host, John Parker, in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
Also streaming, excuse me, I had a fruit bar before we went on the air, and it's sticking
back
with me.
Yeah.
Jim, tell us about YouTube while I take a drink of chai here.
About YouTube? Well, I think what we want you to do is, if you like what we're doing, make sure you subscribe and make sure you send us a message if you want to, because the more dynamism we get with our YouTube folks, obviously that's better for the algorithm to pick it up and translate it to other people, right?
Perfect. So thank you for that. This is why you don't eat before you go on the air. All right, folks. There's just so much. I feel like I keep opening the show by saying that. There's just so much today. But today is January 6th, which is the 5th anniversary of when MAGA tried to overthrow the United States government by installing a president who lost the election. This 5th anniversary comes days after MAGA broke international law by kidnapping the Venezuelan head of state. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later in the show. But we need to start with healthcare today. Breaking news from Minnesota happening right now at the Capitol Press Conference Room at the Minnesota Legislature, a coalition led by Outfront Minnesota, Gender Justice, representatives from Minnesota's Queer Caucus, as well as a variety of care providers, and community members. They're holding a press conference to talk about the current state of gender care in Minnesota. According to Representative Lee Finke, when we got to talk to her last November, she said at that time that Minnesota didn't have any major hospitals that had shut down their health care for transgender youth. Well, yesterday, the General Counsel, there it is, Health and Human Services General Counsel announced that they are going to begin an investigation into Children's Minnesota.
Oh, no.
Now, Children's Minnesota, according to NPR, had a 30% increase last year to its gender health program, and that hospital has hired more clinicians to help. One provider told NPR News that he was treating 15 patients who were traveling into Minnesota from out of state. You recall that Minnesota is a trans refuge state, and here in Minnesota, unlike for our listeners in Chicago, all the major healthcare providers shut down their gender affirming care programs for kids. That hadn't happened yet here in Minnesota. So we are following what is happening at that press conference as it's going on now while we're live on the air. We're going to try to have folks here tomorrow from the press conference, and we're going to report out what happens there. But to give you a sense of Children's Minnesota, because this is a gem, it is not just for Minnesotans. A lot of people, both youth and adults, well, mainly youth actually for Children's Minnesota, come to this state to specifically work with them. In 2024, the Schwartz Center for Compassionate Healthcare, their Corman Impact Honors, they selected Children's Minnesota as their honoree in 2024. And according to Children's Minnesota's website, the recognition, quote, celebrates Schwartz Center healthcare members who are making an impact by creating programs or initiatives that promote compassionate, collaborative care. So we are going to see what happens with this alleged investigation into Children's Minnesota. They continued to, in the Twitter announcement, because that's where you do things these days, made the claim that healthcare for transgender youth is not safe. And this is coming on news that was just published yesterday in the Deseret News. Now, this is the Deseret is
Salt Lake
Utah's.
City.
Oh, what?
Salt Lake City was a terrible newspaper. Sorry. Yeah. I've bought the Deseret News. It's the Salt Lake City newspaper.
Okay, there's a reason
Yes.
why I'm specifically reaching out to them. They're the oldest news organization in Utah.
Yes.
And in 2023, they've been reporting on how the Utah legislature, super uber Mormon MAGA legislature, passed a bill that prohibited sex reassignment surgeries for minors. And as part of this bill, SB 16, they demanded the government provide a review of medical evidence to inform future policies. Now, the Deseret reporting that their headline, Utah lawmakers to push for permanent ban on youth transgender treatments. That's a hard headline. Amid criticism of the state report. But what is this state report? The state report was compiled by the Utah's Department of Health and Human Services between April 2023 and August of 2024. Okay, that's a long time. It was contracted with the University of Utah's Drug Regimen Review Center, conducting what it called one of the most comprehensive systematic reviews of studies related to transgender medical treatments to date. So that's of 2024. That document was 1,000 pages. It compiled 134 English language clinical studies representing more than 28,000 transgender minors. Now, you would think in the state of Utah, where okay, like we have a very MAGA Mormon legislature, MAGA Mormon governor. This is not a state. If there, there could be folks that are like, you know what, this is the government that we're working for, so we're going to create a review that is amenable to the legislative goals that they have, right? And there's a group that they rely on, the MAGA Mormon legislature, MAGA throughout the country, called Do No Harm. Do No Harm opposes all trans healthcare, and so surprisingly or not, all of their recommendations are
Do harm.
anti-trans
Right.
healthcare. So in their report, they said it is our expert opinion, quoting directly from that policies to prevent access to and use of gender-affirming hormone therapy for treatment of gender dysphoria in pediatric patients cannot be justified based on the quantity or quality of medical science findings or concerns. How about that? And of course, now the Utah MAGA Mormon legislators are saying, well, we don't care about that study anymore. That study doesn't count. It doesn't matter. I don't like it. So we're still going to pass another ban here in 2026. And the idea that you don't like something doesn't mean that that's now science. That doesn't mean that, all the doctors said it's fine. Well, I personally don't like it. So therefore it should be banned. That should not be the basis for law. And when you say you don't like healthcare for transgender kids because you listen to groups like Do No Harm and you want to believe that the science is still out on it, well, here are the folks. I went and got this list. Here are the list of organizations that recommend healthcare, gender-affirming healthcare for trans kids. You ready, Jim?
Sure.
American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Academy of Nursing, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Physician Assistants, the American College Health Association, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, the American College of Physicians, the American Heart Association, the American Medical Association, the American Nurses Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, the American Public Health Association, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the Endocrine Society, the Federation of Pediatric Organizations, the National Association of Social Workers, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the World Medical Association, the Society for Adolescent Health and Medicine. Do you know more than they do about healthcare? If you're sitting in your car right now and you're like, well, it just makes me feel uncomfortable and I don't understand it. Do you know more about medicine than they do?
I would actually appreciate somebody that was self-aware enough to say, I don't understand it, and it scares me, but teach me, let's help me understand it, because that's a natural human reaction. That's a decent human reaction. Science is too complicated for me, so dumb it down so that I can understand it. I think that is not what they're doing.
This is getting to the roots, actually, of progressive political thought. The progressives, if you want to go back into history, and I'm sure Tom Hartman talks about this all the time, the progressives were the ones that said, you know what, all these agencies that we have in the federal government, we should probably have experts running that. We shouldn't have people who are, cronies of whoever is in power, of a senator or a representative or the president or someone who bought it and said, well, here, I'm going to give you a donation, so give me the job of Health and Human Services Secretary, wink, wink. They were like, we should actually have experts in transportation, in healthcare that are doing this. And so when we're sitting here, yes, if you're somebody who thinks, well, I don't understand healthcare for trans kids, so I need to learn more about that before I can agree to it. Wrong. There is no place for you to agree or not. This is not a decision for you. This is a decision between medically trained professionals and a patient. Those are the only people who get to make a decision or not. You don't, it doesn't matter. It does not matter what I think right now about healthcare for trans people. It doesn't matter. My opinion does not matter. The only opinions that matter are patients in consultation with their doctors. That is the only appropriate response. If someone asks you for a poll or around the table about, what do you think about this healthcare for trans kids? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. And if you want me to, I will read that list again of all of the people, organizations, American Medical Association, etc., who say, you know what, we've studied this. We actually know medicine. And we are recommending with our patients, because we find over and over and over and over and over again that the outcomes are positive, that the healthcare is important, and that it is necessary.
Can I ask, I'm sorry, can we go back to one thing that I wonder if
20 seconds. Maybe we'll come back to it after the break.
Let's do it after the break.
What do you want to come back to?
Well, I want to be clear about what's going on with children's, because I was a little unclear about what the issue was.
Well, what we know right now is that they're being referred to investigation by the General Counsel of Health and Human Services. We don't know what the scope of that investigation means.
Because it sounded like it could be more like they're understaffed as opposed to something. And that was the question that came into my mind. If somebody's got 15 patients, are they just overwhelmed?
No, they hired more staff.
Okay.
They hired more staff. Yeah, it's not that type of investigation, but we'll continue more of that. You're listening to The Gaily Show. More after this very quick break.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind, so what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Mary T. I'm a proud supporter of AM 950 because this station shares the values that I care about most: community, connection, and making a difference. Just like AM 950, I believe in using our energies, our resources, and our voices to lift up others. That's why I started the Mary T. Scholar Program at the University of Minnesota College of Education and Human Development, providing graduate students with internships internationally. For over the past 10 years, our students have served communities in Laos, Cambodia, Nepal, India, Cameroon, and Thailand, gaining experience and helping people in ways that really make a difference. Supporting AM 950 fosters conversation, awareness, and action in our communities. It's about shared values and believing that together we can make a difference. Visit marytinc.com to learn more about the work that we do.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Je te dis joyeux Noël, tu me dis joyeux Noël.
Hey, Francois, look at those pretty gifts.
Oui, j'ai commandé des macarons sur nicoletsmacarons.com.
You ordered these macarons at nicoletsmacarons.com? That's great because they ship throughout the country.
Oui, et ils ont même mis le logo de mon entreprise sur les macarons.
And they put your company logo on the macaroons.
Et voilà un cadeau pour toi.
A box for me? Thank you, Francois. And I have a gift for you from nicoletsmacarons.com.
Joyeux Noël!
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour. I know that I get very animated, shall we say, when it comes to healthcare, but I spent 3 years traveling the state of Minnesota, talking about, educating about LGBTQ healthcare. And I was doing that in medical academic degree programs and consulting with clinics and large healthcare insurers and providers and organizing conferences and speaking at conferences and creating all sorts of educational curriculum. So it does drive me a little cuckoo bananas when I have people who are apparently in charge saying that the science says the opposite of what it's actually saying. And when I sit there and I look at a list of 20 of the major medical associations for all of the various fields that you're in, from, you know, pediatrics to oncology, and they're all saying, yes, this works. Yes, gender affirming care for kids works. It works for adults. It has positive outcomes. These are folks that aren't trying to push at a political agenda. What they have in front of them is a patient who is in pain and having symptoms of pain, and they're trying to figure out what is actually going to benefit them, heal them. And after decades of looking into this to see, with their main question being, does this heal? Does this lead to beneficial outcomes? They have found the current regimen of gender-affirming care does work, does have positive outcomes. So they prescribe it. And what I care, my personal opinion, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What the only decision makers in the situation are the patients, their parents, and their healthcare providers. And they will monitor the situation because there's a lot of monitoring. Even I didn't realize the amount of monitoring that goes in to making sure that the outcomes that we're looking for are positive. So we will keep we will keep tabs on this story as it's breaking of an investigation into Children's Minnesota. The press conference that out front Minnesota and gender justice and representatives that are talking about the state of healthcare. It is going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes. We will be, fortunately, I can't be in two places at one time. So we will be checking in with that and then reporting on it tomorrow on what happened there. But I want to also, and Jim, to what you were saying before the break, the MAGA Trump administration is basically saying that gender affirming care doesn't work. And so we're going to investigate Children's Minnesota for practicing medicine that doesn't work. Wrong. It does work. Right. They are promoting an agenda. And even today, Trump is going on TV saying, if you don't vote for me, they're going to be transgender for everybody. So he's trotting that out again. And,
I was thinking it was a state investigation
No.
You're clarifying for me now that it's
Sorry,
the Fed,
yes.
and anything related to the federal government right now is bogus. I
Yeah.
can't think of something they're doing that I would respect, except maybe the post office. So
And why I tend to respect the doctors and the real researchers on this, and not an organization like Do No Harm, is again, they are interested in what works to treat a patient and get them to positive health outcomes. If something doesn't work, they are not going to keep doing it.
Right.
They are not going to force something that is going to cause harm on a child, whether
Like-
that child, and by the way, they all want you to believe that kids under 12 are getting surgeries. No one under 12 is getting surgeries. There was a Harvard study on this that looked at like who are getting these surgeries. It's first of all, no one under 12, and the majority of people that are getting breast reduction surgeries are cisgender boys.
fatty boys that need. I could probably do that.
Okay? So like we we know this healthcare works. We know it works. And when there need to be changes, they make changes. But this is a country, the United States, that isn't very good when it comes to healthcare. And we're seeing now that the Affordable Care Act subsidies have gone away. This is reporting from Raw Story in combination with MS Now. A Texas woman diagnosed with stage 3 endometrial cancer logged into her health insurance account in December and found that her usual premium of $200 a month jumped to $1,700 for the exact same plan. She's like, I only make $1,200 a month.
Right.
And she has cancer, by the way. And that cancer treatment is going to cost between $20,000 to $45,000. Weekly treatments is what she needs for the next 2 years.
So she will. I mean, the outcome of that, unfortunately, I fear, is that she will die. That's what the Republicans' refusal to.
Well, we don't know what's going to
subsidies.
happen, but technically,
Well,
if you don't have
it's not
cancer and
gonna
don't
be-
treat it, it doesn't
it's-
lead to a positive outcome.
Yeah, that's probably. I think that's a reasonable odds sort of statement. So the Republicans weren't just doing something about Obamacare. They are leading to the potential death of people with serious illness who can't afford that kind of increase in premiums, which frankly is almost all of us,
Yeah.
except the 3% at the top,
Yeah.
which is who they're governing for.
Well, and this week, now that everybody's working again, the House Speaker Johnson has to hold a floor vote on a Democratic proposal to resurrect, according to the Hill, that's their terms, resurrect the subsidies for 3 more years. The reason why he is forced to do this is because of the fancy term discharge petition, which apparently if 218 House representatives sign a thing called a discharge petition, then it forces a vote in the House of Representatives. That's how we got the Epstein files law.
Where are those Epstein
And
files anyway?
yeah, where did those go? We're too busy breaking international law to care about that anymore.
That's right.
But that is so that vote is going to happen this week. It is expected that it will pass the House of Representatives. The Senate, unknown what's going to happen there because you need 60 votes to get anything done over there. Thank you to Manchin and Sinema. The fact that we still have that stupid filibuster,
It's ridiculous.
but apparently
Shame on them.
centrists, whatever that means these days, have been working secretly in the Senate over the Christmas and New Year's break on a plan. We don't know what the details are of this super secret healthcare plan that's going to be coming out today. What we do know is some reporting from USA Today, which is that MAGA senators want to give everybody a $1,500. Well, actually, it's unclear who is going to get these things, but they want to give you $1,500 in a healthcare savings account.
So that'll help that lady
instead of the subsidies.
That'll help that lady for 1 month.
Well, so yeah, I mean $1,500. So the problem with that though is you still have to have a high deductible plan, which means that you, for your health insurance to kick in, you still have to pay the first $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 before the insurance will start paying for anything. So if you have $1,500 in a health savings account, I guess you can use that to pay off part of the deductible, or you can use it to sort of give yourself a discount every month on your health premiums. I'm sorry, we're going to have to head to a break here. We're going to keep talking about healthcare when we come back because it is just It is a huge story. So we're going to be back. You're listening to The Gaily Show on AM 950 Radio and WCPT 820.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
Hey, it's Beth from Big Hill Books. Yes, the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. When the world feels too serious, we say grab a book, pet a cat, and let Gigi the shop dog remind you joy still exists. Because reading and smiling are both acts of resistance. Find us at 405 Penn Avenue South in the lovely Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Or visit bighillbooks.com. Be sure to say hello and tell the gang you heard about us on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 34. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 23. And Wednesday, sunny with a high around 38. Crooners is your go-to classic supper club, offering world-class entertainment and 4-star dining. Catch top artists in the main stage showroom, Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the Belvedere under the stars. Or stop by Maggie's Lounge where there's no cover and no reservations. Visit croonersmn.com for details. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome back to The Gaily Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I'm your host, John Parker. It is 33 minutes after the hour, joined in studio by my executive producer, Jim Pounds. We're still talking about healthcare because we've got the healthcare vote coming up in the U.S. House of Representatives this week, which we're expecting it will pass to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. We don't know what's going to be happening in the Senate. Super duper secret meetings happening over the holiday break that they had. I guess we'll learn more about what's in those, but we do know that Senate Republicans, MAGA Senate Republicans, want healthcare savings accounts for folks. And apparently that number that they want to give is $1,500, which doesn't really cover anything exclusively if you actually look at the numbers.
If you have chronic illness, no, it certainly doesn't.
But as someone who has chronic health concerns and conditions, when I hear that I'm going to get a $1,500 healthcare savings account versus the premiums, on the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and I don't know. I'm bad at math. I am notoriously bad at adding columns of numbers. But when I see them laid out, and I can't tell which number is bigger and which number is smaller.
Can I just say, this has been a failure, including of the Obama administration, because the problem is here that the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, and the medical providers all want to make more profit than they could make if we were trying to keep healthcare affordable. You know, everybody talks about affordable. I want affordable healthcare. Okay, that probably means a small profit for all three of those industries, 3%, let's call it. And they're trying to get 20, 25, 30 in the pharmaceutical business. So until they are regulated, because I don't think they're going to find generosity on their own, until they're regulated and controlled in some way, this is what a capitalistic kind of healthcare is. It's unaffordable for most people. And the only people who don't feel that are the ones who are healthy and don't need it. But as soon as you need it, this system is terrible for all but the top 7 million people in the country. For them, it's great. For the rest of us, it's a problem. And I think we're going to have to start having that conversation. Even Chuck Schumer the other day on MS Now said, you know, we're going to have to do something about the various industries that are involved here. Well, yes, you are. And it's not going to be a polite conversation. So that's, even Obama wouldn't go to that place, or they wouldn't take him seriously or whatever, but that's what's going to have to change.
I guess, yes, you could try more regulations, and then they'll get around those regulations, and then you can try more regulations, and then you can just get caught in this regulatory cycle over and over and over again, and then have the election seasons where everyone decides for whatever reason that Republicans should be in charge of healthcare, and then they completely decimate it because they do not have a coherent plan and have never had a coherent plan. The Democratic Party has a plan, but I think that I don't want to say, because everyone goes, oh, John, you're all about universal health care and universal, you just think it's the panacea. It's a solution for everything, John. And what I will say to that is that there is no universal option for universal health care. Like Canada has universal health care, but their version of that, how they get that done, very different than France. And France's is very different from Hungary. Hungary has a far-right government. Hang on. They have a far-right government that even the Trump administration loves. They love their dictator over there, Viktor Orban. They're constantly wanting him to come over there. Their version of universal health care, very different than the one in Australia. And so I think that there is a version of universal health care that can be American, but the Democratic Party does need to get on board here. I think there are still too many quote unquote centrists who think, oh, let's not go down that road again, you far lefty. When I'm like, okay, universal healthcare is considered a centrist policy and every other place on the planet outside of the United States of America, because we have been drugged so far. We've been drugged, play on words, so far to the right that we don't even realize that what's actually centrist everywhere else isn't far left.
But the way it's accomplished is that people in the healthcare business, in whatever of those three categories I just mentioned, and I don't think we need health insurance, to be honest with you, but health providers and pharmaceuticals don't make nearly the money that they make here. So to approximate any of those models, they've got to make a lot less money than they do now. And a college degree to become a doctor has to cost a lot less money than it does now. The stock market is not going to like it, but that's the only way. Well, same thing with real estate. The only way for all of these things to become more affordable is not magic. It's taking all of the profit margin out of it, most of it, and that will bring your cost down 22%. I don't know any other way to accomplish it. And I've never heard from you or anybody else another way to accomplish the money part of it. You have X amount of money. How do you split that up? Or where does extra money come from? It's ultimately calculation.
You're boiling something down very, very. Oh, you're oversimplifying something, and then I can't sit
Yes.
here and lay out because there's the Canadian version, the UK version, the Icelandic version, the Norwegian version, the French version, the Australian version, the New Zealand version of universal healthcare. We need to have a serious conversation about what that can look like here, because in those systems you are taking out the profit motive and you are saying no, healthcare is a right. People shouldn't go bankrupt because their appendix tries to murder them.
And
they should just be able to get an appendectomy and then go back to work the next day.
And in the UK, a doctor makes about $70,000 or whatever, $70,000 or $80,000, and I think that's fine. But you can't make them pay what they're paying for a medical degree. You have to bring all of those costs. You have to
Correct.
redistribute the wealth from the top in those industries to everybody, because it is a right. There should not be a profit motive in any.
I'm not saying that it's
part
going
of
to
medicine.
be. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. Far from it.
No.
But when you ask me the set of problems that I would prefer to have,
I agree.
I would prefer to have the problems to a systemic, long-term, universal healthcare system that
I
is
agree.
actually focused on health outcomes,
Right.
than focusing on a system that is patchwork with a political party who doesn't think that anybody should have any health care, that it should just be pay as you
Just
go.
die on
And
the
if you
street.
have
Yeah.
and if your appendix tries to murder you, or you have the audacity to get cancer, well, that's God punishing you apparently, and you just have to deal with it. That's their healthcare plan. Jesus.
Yeah. It's anti-human. The Republican point of view about people's health is anti-human. So I agree with you. I think there is a way to do this. And I think we have to have that kind of grit and resolve to say, we don't care about your profit margin in pharmaceutical business. We don't care about your profit margin in healthcare providers. We're gonna massage the business down from where it is now. And yes, we'll lose some research and there'll be some negative outcomes from it, but it's got to be affordable for everybody. It's a human right. Every single person should have it. And we shouldn't ever have to struggle about being kept healthy in this supposedly greatest country in the world.
Well, I want to turn to one more healthcare story before we go today, and our producer in the control room, Patrick Lilia, let us know about this one. Abortion is going to remain legal in Wyoming after the state Supreme Court today ruled that the two laws that were barring abortions violated the state constitution. And Patrick, I don't know if you want to get on the microphone for this. Apparently, it was the reason why the abortion is staying legal is because of a constitutional amendment related to the Affordable Care Act?
That's my understanding of it. This is just kind of speculative, but some years ago, they passed a law that was designed to thwart Obamacare in Wyoming. And this has come back on a few occasions too, when MAGA has wanted to pass restrictive laws that the court has said, well, this law is still in force, so that blocks the MAGA abortion ban type stuff too.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer place. That's just
great. That is the literal definition of irony. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Patrick, for letting us know about this story. Fantastic. All right. Technically, there's two anniversaries happening today. For the Gaily show, this is literally the 1-year anniversary of when we started to go daily.
Happy anniversary.
On the Gaily show. Literally started January 6th of 2025. But the more important, I guess, anniversary today is the 5th anniversary of the attempt by MAGA to overthrow the United States government by stopping the transition of power for the first time in history. And I am curious if you're listening right now about what your take is 5 years on. I feel like I'm kind of like cynical and numb about it, but what is it that we are missing here as we're thinking about this 5th anniversary? Because it feels like we're dealing with so much now today. Like, for instance, over the weekend, the Trump administration saying, hey, the UN charter doesn't matter anymore. We're just going to go in and kidnap dictators and heads of state that we don't like anymore. That we're dealing with that right now. So it kind of feels like, oh yeah, by the way, they tried to overthrow the United States government. I'd be curious though what your thoughts are about commemorating the anniversary of January 6th. Our phone number is 952-946-6205, 946-6205. This is for folks who are listening in the 2 p.m. hour of the Gaily Show. Really, really curious to hear. If folks are like, I don't know if I'm going to call in, please call in. Because I feel like this is a conversation that is getting buried, and it was the first real salvo that MAGA said, no, we will end things like the U.S. Constitution to get what we want. We will end the UN Charter to get what we want. Like, the laws no longer apply to us. And here we are 5 years later.
Yeah, I read a quote. Now, I can't attribute this to whether it's true or not, that at one point somebody asked Ding Dong about January 6th, and he said it was a day of love. And, in his very small brain, he was feeling loved by all those criminals waving their guns or waving their flags or their nooses or whatever they were waving. So he felt loved and isn't able to have any objectivity to say what was actually going on that day. He just thought it was a love fest for him. I mean, literally the most self-absorbed person I've ever seen, just mind-boggling. And the people that follow that, it's you can see where people followed Mussolini and people followed Hitler because they developed something in their brain, and he keeps reinforcing it. None of it's based on the truth, but it's a very dangerous thing. And boy, have we got some fixing to do in this country. A lot of things that we took for granted, that presidents would always love the American people and the United States, and this one doesn't. And now we see what happens, that we've been so lax in our control of things like pardons and all of that nonsense, that he pardons a drug dealer and then complains about the drug dealing of Maduro. And no accountability from the press, by the way. Anyway, I have all kinds of feelings about January 6th, but I am curious to hear what other people think.
This seems kind of silly, but there's the 5th of November in the UK. Remember the 5th of November. I mean, this was just a guy. This was like in the 1700s, Guy Fawkes gunpowder plot where he just tried to blow up Parliament. And they made up a whole, poem about it. Yeah. And they burn effigies of Guy Fawkes every 5th of November.
Yeah.
I feel like, why don't we have something? That was such a serious moment in American history. The gravity of that moment that we lived through.
Yep.
Are we memorializing it correctly? You're listening to The Gaily Show. More after this break.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950's social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the cold colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM950. Trust Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Winter's on its way. Why spend your morning shoveling snow when I can take care of it for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today. Make winter easier, safer, and more enjoyable with Buzzcut Mowing.
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Your thoughts on how we should be commemorating January 6th today, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Reminding folks from reporting from the AP News in December that former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith, quoting from their reporting, told lawmakers in a closed-door interview that his team of investigators developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Donald Trump had criminally conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Yep. And now we have him. You know, where I was going with that is that we now have him overthrowing governments, kind of, though, in Venezuela. And this is the thing, is that, you know, folks are, you know, you've got Tucker Carlson that's like, we did it to get gay marriage in Venezuela. And it's like, what are you talking about, Tucker Carlson? Like, this guy has totally jumped the shark here. But when you feel like, oh, he's celebrating, like we have the opposition leader now saying she's going to give her Peace Prize to Trump, that he deserves part of it now. And there are people that are celebrating that Maduro is gone. Now, yes, please, the guy was a dictator. He committed crimes against humanity. He should be tried in The Hague by the International Criminal Court. Nobody's disagreeing with that. But don't tell me that you advanced democracy when you left in place his vice president, who's now the interim president of Venezuela. All of his defense henchmen, who have a secret violent police force, are still there, are still in power. So the entire Maduro political regime is still there, minus Maduro himself. So you can't tell me this is pro-democracy. It's not pro-democracy because he's still there. Somehow now you have the opposition candidate saying, I'll give you my Peace Prize. What is that going to accomplish? Like, it's just what? And you've got Rachel Maddow on MS Now last night, you know, saying that all he wants is to just do things like this.
Right.
That he just wants to be able to say, I can send the military wherever I want. I can design these things. I don't need Congress. I don't need the UN. I don't need NATO. I don't have to follow the law. I can just decide today that I'm going to be so amazing that we're going to send the U.S. military and we're going to take this person and bring him to the United States. You can't say that it is based off of human rights when you pardon Noriega, the Honduran dictator, for doing the exact same things that Maduro did. You can't say it's about human rights and democracy when you're leaving in place the Maduro regime. And again, here we have, we're talking about this on the day that his political party and movement tried to overthrow the United States government.
Right.
And here we are, what he's doing on the international stage. It's just, where is the level of accountability here? And if the Supreme Court gave him a free check to do whatever he wants, then we need to be prepared to hand him over to The Hague.
Absolutely.
In 2029.
I'll help.
He needs to be handed over to The Hague.
Yes.
And to be tried under the International Criminal Court himself.
Yes.
If he is violating the UN Charter, France isn't going to come and get him. Australia isn't going to come and get him. Canada isn't going to come and get him. It's going to be incumbent upon us. I know we were talking about this yesterday, but it's something that we're going to have to begin to understand and let that reality settle into our bones, that the people who are going to have to hold him accountable, we're going to have the Nuremberg trials times 1,000. It needs to be top to bottom, and we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared to say, you know what? This president of the United States allegedly and most violated international law. He violated the UN Charter. He needs to be held accountable. If the ICC or the ICJ issues an arrest warrant for him, we will execute said warrant. For Rubio, for Hegseth, for any of those generals that should have known better.
It's going to be a tough 3 years, I think. But
there is a level of justice that needs to be had in this country, and it also starts with packing that court. If you are not on board with anything that you try to do, if you're sitting there and I am a common sense Democrat or whatever those are, a blue dog Democrat, and let's just stop being extreme. No more MAGA and no more progressives. Let's just go back to doing non-extreme things. The Supreme Court is so extreme right now. They will literally do everything in their power to undo anything that you try to do. And you might sit there and go, oh no, they won't. They're doing it. They are doing it. They stop Biden at every juncture. They're giving Trump everything that he wants. The only thing they're not giving him is where they're saying, okay, hold on, dude, pause. We'll pause this stuff. But the court, the court, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. Just give us a few months to deal with it. So this court has gone off the rails. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is showing it to us with every decision that she's writing, saying, what is going on here? What are you all doing? You're not even following the law right now. You're just doing all this pretzel logic to get the outcome that you want. So when you have someone who has been a judge, a federal judge, and then comes into the Supreme Court and is like, okay, I know how this is supposed to work. And I'm new here, so I'm now taking a lay of the land. And it's like, wait a minute. We need to get on board with this. We need 3 justices. 3 justices need to be added to the court. All right, that is all for us today. If you are listening in Chicago, up next on WCPT 820 is Democracy Now! Here in Minneapolis on AM 950 Radio, it is the Matt McNeil Show. After that, stay tuned for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, step into the unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.